Hey everyone, this is Jason Schmaltz from Summit Seekers Experience, and today I'm going to show you 5 simple steps for how to plan, purchase, and pack your meal plan for your big backpacking trip. The first step in planning any backpacking meal plan is to figure out, hey, how many calories do I need to keep me energized, to keep me going throughout the trip, but to not be so many calories that I have a bunch left over at the end, okay? So there's kind of 2 parts to that step. The first part is figuring out, hey, what's my calories per day that I need, okay? For most people, that number falls in the range of 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day. If you're a bigger person like me, I'm around 200 pounds. You may be on the upper end of that range, maybe like right at 3,000. And then if you're a smaller person, like my wife's significantly smaller than I am, she doesn't need quite that much. She's more of like the 2,500, maybe even 2,400 calories per day. But that's the first part of that step, is figuring, hey, calories per day, what do I need that's going to keep me energized, keep me going day in, day out through the trip. And then the second part of that step is, how many days am I going to be on the trip? In this video, I'm going to show you how to pack for a 3-day, 2-night trip, which would be 2.5 days. But if you were going on a longer trip, you could, just extrapolate out based on what you see in this video. So if I need 3,000 calories for a 2.5-day trip, I will multiply those 2 numbers to come up with a total calorie load for the trip of 7,500 calories. So that's the amount of calories total I need in my backpack to help me get through this trip successfully. So that's step 1. How many total calories do I need in my backpack? Step 2 is, how will I fill up that calorie count with foods? We don't want to just walk into the grocery store thinking, okay, I need to buy 7,500 calories worth of food, because I'm going to get lost in the amount of choices in a grocery store and probably won't pick the most ideal foods for backpacking. So a good way to become a little bit more focused in our food choices is to think about, hey, what are the 10 to 15 types of food or food items that work well with me, that work well with my digestive system, they're convenient, and they're also relatively calorie dense. So we want to choose calorie dense foods. At the end of the day, the total density of our meal, if we totaled up all the calories and divided it by the total weight in ounces, we would want to be around 120 to 130 calories per ounce. So I want to choose calorie dense foods. So obviously there's some variance on this depending on what food you look at, but just a couple examples. A Cliff Bar is around 110 calories per ounce. Beef jerky is right around 110 or 120 calories per ounce. Almonds or trail mix is higher. It's up around 160 calories per ounce. So you can see, as those get blended together, I'm going to get kind of an average. Okay. But at the end of the day, you want to be thinking calorie density, and that's also going to kind of correlate with compact foods that are going to fit in your backpack well. Foods that you'll see yourself starting to weed out will be things like produce like apples and bananas. Those things are just very heavy for the amount of calories that you are going to get out of them. Those are good for day trips, but not so much for overnight backcountry trips. So I encourage you to build a list of your 10 to 15 foods that you're going to use to fill up your backpack with, and then populate that list with the amount of calories per serving and the amount of weight per serving. And from there, we can strategically choose how much of each food we need. And if we have some running totals, we can see us fill up that calorie count as we make our grocery list. So I'm going to show you my list now. It's in Excel form. You can use Excel. That's a good way to organize it and automatically calculate things. A lot of people like to do that. But if you want to do it on paper, that's fine too. There is a couple exceptions to the calorie density rule. One of them that I make is coffee. I very much want coffee in the morning. So I like instant coffee, and there's no calories in instant coffee. The good thing is instant coffee is very light, and it's also pretty good compared to regular coffee, especially when you consider the remoteness that you'll be in. It's actually very good. And then the second exception is tea. I like to have afternoon tea every day. Green tea bags are not heavy at all, but there's no calories in them. So those are two exceptions that I like to make. And I think it's a small trade-off for the reward that you get. So that's step 2, is to make this list, and I'm going to show you on my computer what that looks like right now. And then we're going to head to the store and purchase based on that list. Okay, so you can see here that I have a table like I described with my favorite backpacking food items on the left-hand side here. And you can see there's, about 15 different items to choose from. And then you can see in these two columns I have the calories and weights per serving. And in this middle column is where I'll populate what I need for my trip and watch the totals start to sum as I populate the list. My tool has a nice kind of summary table over here that gives me the total weight, total calories, and if I have the days inputted, it'll give me the calories per day as well as the calories per ounce, which right now is getting an error since it's divided by 0, but as soon as I start populating, that'll go away. So I'll go ahead and build my meal plan right now for a 2.5 day trip. And like I said, if your trip is longer than 2.5 days, just extrapolate out and do it for that amount of time. So for a 2.5 day trip, I'll have 3 breakfasts. And I like to have oatmeal for breakfast, but I like to have 2 servings of oatmeal. So that'll be 3 days, and it'll be 2 servings per day. So 6 total servings, and you can see how things are starting to populate. So I'll continue down the list. I like the Honey Stinger brand for some simple sugar snacks. So I like the gummies. I'll have 1 of those per day. And I really like the wafer cookies. So I'll probably have 2 of those per day. So I'll do 3 days times 2. Moving on, for lunch, I like to have trail mix, and I also like to have beef jerky. So I like 2 servings of trail mix for 3 days. And then on the beef jerky, I actually like 3 servings. That's how I kind of hit my protein goals for the day. So I'll do 3 servings for 3 days. RX bars are just another form of Cliff bars that I happen to prefer. I'll probably have 1 of those per day. And then after dinner, I like to have some snacks. So I like M&Ms for snacks. So I'll probably have 2 servings of M&Ms on one day. And then on the other day, I'll probably have 2 servings of Snickers. And since this is just a 2.5 day trip, we're only going to have 2 dinners. So I like the Mountain House brand of backpacking meals. You may prefer a different brand. And obviously, the different meals have different calories in them, but I've found that 600 calories is kind of a good placeholder, and then I can adjust from there. But that's kind of good for what we're doing. So I'll have 2 of those. Another one of my favorite snacks to bring is chips, whether it's potato chips or I also like the Dorito chips. And the reason why these are good is, number one, they are a quick carbohydrate, to maybe have right before a big climb or something like that. But they also provide salt, and you need a significant amount of salt if you're working hard in the backcountry. So I like to have 2 servings of chips for each of the 3 days. And that's starting to look pretty good. You can see I have still some blanks for these other rows, and depending on how I feel on a different trip, I may take Nutella for a dessert instead of Snickers. But This looks pretty good to me. One thing to not forget, sometimes we get caught up in the calorie portions of our meal plan, but we want to always remember the coffee and tea, as I said before. If you really do like coffee and tea and accidentally forget it, you're going to be disappointed on your trip. So I always go ahead and have those in here as well. And you can see that that really made no change to the calories, but it did change the weight slightly, but only slightly because these are pretty light items. So you can see over here in this summary table, I have kind of all the metrics I spoke about before. You can see my calories per ounce is kind of right in the range I want. I'd said 120 to 130 calories per ounce, and you can see at 124, I'm pretty close to where I want to be. And likewise on the calories per day, I had mentioned, I wanted, to be around 3,000, and this is really close to that at 3,052 calories per day. So now with this table, we have exactly what we want to purchase in the amounts that we want to purchase. So we're ready to head down to the store and purchase these items. And then I'll see you back at my house where we will complete the packing process for this meal plan. Okay, see you in a second. Okay, so we're back from the store now, and as you can see, we've purchased pretty much everything on our list. It's all laid out nice and neat, and I got my assistant here, Johnny, who's going to help me get this all packed up for our trip. There's one problem though, when you purchase the stuff from the store, it's not packed up in a way that's conducive to backpacking. You can see these M&Ms and Doritos that I'm supposed to spread out over multiple days are in one single package, and it's going to be a real pain to put this in my backpack just like this. So what we're going to do is portion out in those Ziploc bags everything that we need, and then lay everything out in the order that it will be consumed. So Johnny, can you help me package this stuff out individually?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's get to that, and then we'll be right back with how it looks right before we go into our backpack. Okay.
Press the red button.
She did. Okay, so now we have everything individually packaged. So the next thing we want to do, and thanks Johnny for your help for that, the next thing we want to do is get everything laid out exactly how it's going to be consumed each day. So we're going to have 3 columns with our food. So the first day, if you remember from my spreadsheet, we will have 2 cookie wafers. We'll have 1 gummy, okay, 1 Doritos or chips, 1 oatmeal for breakfast. For lunch, we're going to have a trail mix, and then I forgot to put the beef jerky out here, but that would normally go with the trail mix right there. Okay, and then for dinner, we'll have the Mountain House, and then a dessert, which would be M&Ms on that first day. Okay, so now I can visualize that day everything's checked off. Like I said, the beef jerky I would normally just go grab. And then let's do it for the second and third day. So again, 2 wafers for each day. I forgot I had these Honey Stinger protein bars, so I'm going to use those for dessert instead of the Snickers on the second day. A Mountain House, a Doritos, another gummy, oatmeal for breakfast, trail mix for lunch, along with the beef jerky would be there, and an RX bar. I forgot that on the first day as well. So RX bar is right there as a snack. Okay, last day, again, wafers, trail mix for lunch with the beef jerky, oatmeal for breakfast, Doritos, gummies, No dinner for the third day because that's what I'm going to hike out, and an RX bar. Okay, so that's every day laid out nice and neat, exactly how I want. Common things that I had packaged up was the tea and our coffee, and so those will be kind of sitting out on their own in my container on our trip. Okay, so we got this all set up the way we want, just to put the final touch on it before we pack everything up into its container. I like to take everything except the mountain houses for the entire day and put them in their own gallon Ziploc bags and label them for the day that they'll be consumed. I like to do this for clients as well, so they know exactly what they're supposed to eat. And then the other good thing about this strategy is that they have this kind of like a trash can for the day in this gallon Ziploc bag. So there's day one, all packaged up, and try to get the air out of all the containers. All packaged up with its meal. Here we go with day two. Smile, you're on camera. You're on camera. Everything packaged up for day two. All that's ready to go. And sometimes when I have clients, I'll actually have a little index card and I'll put in there exactly what they have with the amount of calories that it is. And I might put an encouraging message like, hey, you know, you got this, or get that climb today, whatever it is that we're doing for that day. That's something that's kind of fun to do. And then the last day, putting all the food for the last day. No mountain house for this day. Yep, that's okay. And now I got everything packaged up nice and neat. Here's my coffee and tea right here on their own. And I want to pack this into my container now in the exact order that it's going to be consumed. So there's two types of containers for food. One is called a bare bag. This Sea to Summit dry bag is a good example of that. And it eliminates the scent, but as you can tell, it's soft. But the nice thing about these is they're light. And you'll hang your food when you use this, if you take this in the back country. The other container is called a bare canister. And this is more for out west trips when you're above the tree line, you can't really hang your food. So you can use this to pack your food. There's also a bigger one for bigger trips. This is the small one. This is called BV450. The big one's called BV500. So I want to pack this exactly in the order that I'm going to eat it, with the thing I'm going to eat first on top. So that means the thing I'm going to eat last goes on the bottom, which would be day 3. So I'll put day 3 on the bottom. And then I'll put my mountain house for day 2 next. My dinner for day 2 will be next. And then my meals for day 2 will be next. My mountain house for day 1. And then my food for day 1 for the day, during the day. All that will get packed on there, along with my coffee and tea. And that is perfect, ready to go into the backcountry. And I would seal that all the way up and put it in my backpack. So that's what it looks like. What do you think about that, Johnny? Hold that up. You think you could eat that for 3 days? Maybe? Cool. You think you could carry for 3 days? No. So anyway, that's how you put together your meal plan for a big trip, and get it all packed up, and now this is ready to go. Okay, you guys have a great trip, and we'll see you out on the trail. Have a good one.